Previously, we saw how combining custom hyphenation settings with custom justification settings and making sure that you have an appropriate column measure, number of characters per line, you can achieve really even spacing in your type, otherwise known as a good type color. So the fourth part of that equation is optical margin alignment. Let's just talk about it a bit before we pick up the action from where we left it off in the previous movie. So on the left, passage of text without optical margin alignment, and then the same passage of text with optical margin alignment on the right hand side. What's the difference? Take a look at the quote mark there. You can see how that is sticking out to the left of the text frame, and the punctuation and hyphenation sticking out beyond the right hand edge of the frame. The rationale is that it actually creates a sharper line for the eye, because a hyphen at the end of the line is a visual hole. So we're actually lining it up with the edge of the text as opposed to punctuation or a hyphen. How do we apply optical margin alignment? It's probably the easiest feature to apply. You just select the text frame, or you have your cursor in the text frame, come to the story panel and check this box. There's one setting, which is the size. Now, in theory, let me just tear this off so I can put it up above the text. In theory, this number should correspond to the size of your type, which it does in my case, but you might just want to tweak that number and find a result that works best for you. But use as your starting point the size of the type. You can also apply optical margin alignment as a style, but it is an object format, so it needs to be applied as part of an object style. So for example, if I wanted to create an object style, and I know we haven't addressed object styles yet, but I'm just going to jump ahead. If I wanted to create an object style to ensure that all of my text frames had optical margin alignment with that value applied to it, I could create a new object style, and we see the story options right there. I just need to make sure that that is checked. So let's now come back to the text where we left off in the previous movie, having changed the hyphenation and the justification. Press W so that we can see the highlighting of the H and J violations. These, to remind you, are a composition preference. So I'm in normal view mode, H and J violations. The more vivid the yellow, the worse the problem. It's unlikely that you'll ever get rid of all the yellow highlighting. You just want to remove as much as possible. So we've gone from this to this by changing the hyphenation and the justification. Now I will just come and add in optical margin alignment, and that improves things a little bit more. And also, I think it looks better. Some people don't like it, but I think it's one of the best things since sliced bread. It's a great feature, but that's for you to decide. There are occasional times when optical margin alignment doesn't work. If you're working with a numbered list or a bulleted list, then having optical margin alignment turned on, depending on the bullet character that you're using, can move the bullets outside of the left of the text frame. And that's not really something that you want. So in this case, I have optical margin alignment turned on for the frame, so it's going to affect all of the text, including any other text there is beyond the bulleted list. But for this particular style, you can incorporate into the style definition that it ignore the optical margin. So if you find optical margin alignment isn't working for a certain paragraph, but you want it on in the rest of the frame, then add this to your paragraph style definition.